Hi. I'll continue a little bit about when I was at grammar school and then on to when it became a comprehensive school and we moved to Waterby. Um, Domestic science is a subject I haven't mentioned, which only the girls did, because in those days it was considered the most likely event that the girls would become housewives, stay at home and look after the kids, at least for some period of their life, and that they would probably do most of the cooking, cleaning, and so on in the house, and that they needed to learn these skills. Um, in the same way that it was considered that boys needed to learn woodwork or metalwork because they were more likely to need these skills than girls were. If you remember, well, you wouldn't remember perhaps, but the Equal Pay Act for women didn't come until 1975. So when women did go out to work, they generally speaking got paid less than men. Also, it was possible in those days for one person to earn enough to keep a family. It's not anymore in almost every case. Both partners have to go out to work, so things have changed. Physics is another subject that I did. I remember two things really: Newton's laws of motion, which really are unsurpassed for practical use. Einstein's theory of relativity and special relativity are probably relevant for astronomical events, but for normal life on Earth, Newton's laws are near enough. It was a very important scientific advance, I think, really. And in English, he was English, wasn't he? I suppose the other subjects that we did was English literature. Now, I used to like to read before I went to school. I read books like Black Beauty and the Arthur Mee's bits of the Arthur Mee's Encyclopedia. I suppose I did learn something from the Shakespeare and things that we did at school, but you don't have the same enthusiasm when it's given to you as a school subject, do you, as you have when you choose to read it yourself. As regards the English language, I did quite well. I got the grade 1, which is the highest level of pass. 1 to 6 is a pass. 7, 8, and 9, so level then anyway, was a fail. But my teacher did at one point complain that because I spoke with the local dialect that I would never pass the exam unless I learned to speak better, which was a pretty stupid thing to say, really. You learn standard English as a subject like you learn French, really. It had the advantage at grammar school of being surrounded by a lot of people who did speak relatively standard English, even if with a Leicester accent, because it was the grammar school and they were from the more middle class families. So it wasn't difficult at all to speak in one way and write for school purposes in another. I think it's unfortunate that it's gradually being lost because of all the influence from television games, computer games on children. The fact that there's so many people who come from other places with other accents tends to dilute it. You have to speak to each other in a more standard manner rather than with all the nuance that a local dialect has. And they've never been studied properly for their they've got grammar and syntax and so on that is actually different to the standard language, at least slightly. This is not studied and recorded and valued, which is a shame. I suppose I just mentioned that one of the things of domestic science was that the girls would take ingredients one day a week and make cakes and various other things, and they bring them home on the bus, and occasionally they would give us some small portion of it, one of those little joys. Again, it's not the titbit, it's the being chosen to receive it. It's nice. Anyway, on that point, I'll say bye.